Hello and welcome. We said goodbye to the last two casters. We've got to say hello to the two new casters, Echo KO RMC. Let's get into these last two games. How are you feeling today?
It's a good day when Burnicore's playing, baby. And Burnicore's always playing, and I get to cast it too. I'm feeling great today. I don't know if I can say the same for RMC when he has to see his team get crushed into the dirt, but regardless, I'm excited.
Whoa. Hold up your Echo. I mean, Verticore ain't that far ahead of AXZ. We're both 2 and 3 here with the exact
That's
same
fair.
teams. But
That's
J-Ro,
fair.
to answer your question, I am hyped for this, same as Echo is here. You know what? I have a hankering for old arcade games. We've got 2 flippers right now. All I need is a ball bearing, and we've got ourselves a good game of pinball because I'm expecting either high scores or a lot of tilt this game.
Yeah, I definitely expected a lot of flips. And this game is going to go a little bit later as well. The average game times for both teams is pretty much around the 35-minute mark. So they're used to going into those deeper waters. They're not used to closing out. There's no DFM performances that we're expecting today. But with that being said, Burning Core pretty much dead even on gold to 15. It's like plus 44. So whether you want that or not, that's not even an item. It's not even a potion, So it's not really anything. But then AXIZ are down 2.1k average. Echo, do you feel like this is the day that Burning Core decide to be a little bit more of an early game focused team?
I would very much love to see that, especially now with the Church of Yuhi pivoting back around, right? Sending him onto the bot lane. Like that's just thank God. I don't know what who made the call to send him in the support role, not the move. Thank God they changed that. I'm so happy I'm not seeing that anymore. And I mean, statistically speaking, 2 out of the 3 games he's played in the bot lane, they've won. Do we count a win versus V3? Not really. That's pretty much just par for the course. That's kind of the script, right? But regardless, I would love to see them funnel, especially that gold into the Yuhi, especially going to a team like AXZ.
Yeah, they've been pretty consistent on that bot lane. They've picked a lot of Aphelios, they picked a lot of Nautilus. They have a pretty synergistic combination there. RMC, do you feel like that is likely to continue, or do you think maybe AXIZ could, maybe steal some of those picks away, maybe try to switch out themselves?
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So for Burning Core side, I'm not expecting to see changes bot side. Loser has just been playing strictly Nautilus in all 3 games he's played. I expect that to continue, unless, like you said, AXIZ kind of take it away. And they could, right? Ozuka, most played champion last split, was that Nautilus to come through, though we haven't seen it this split so far. I don't know, though, if we would see AXIZ kind of steal away things. It feels like they have their own game plan in draft currently, and they just kind of draft towards it. Sometimes to their own detriment, because it feels like they've been playing draft almost with blinders on, where it's just like, okay, we want a tank in the top lane, we want, a meta jungler, put Megamin on something scaling, Sangchu on a hyper carry, and Ozuka on some sort of engaged tank. And they kind of don't see what they're playing into for the most part when they do that.
Yeah, indeed. And not to hate on some of Burning Core's picks, but I do not want to see Kane again. I feel like that's my personal opinion. Flawless. I want to see him go back to things like maybe the Karthus, maybe the Diana, things that he was really, really strong on in the spring split that I feel like still are appropriate nowadays. Echo, do you feel that the same, or actually you saying maybe there's some other junglers that could work out a little bit better right now?
Actually, very much agree with you, especially on the Diana pick as well. We saw some great performances coming out from Flawless. Obviously, he can't be flawless 24/7. He's got to have some slip ups. Kane definitely was one of them. We don't talk about that around here, but I definitely feel like Karthus maybe need to see a little more of it, but definitely the Diana. I would love to see some return to form factor with that and see him pull it out a bit more, go a bit more of that tanky route and just crush it.
Now, today we've talked a lot about teams' identities, how they like to play the game. We talked about it a lot with V3, we've talked about it with DFM. Let's talk about it with AXIZ as well, because they've definitely been hitting the same margins as we kind of talked about previously. RMC, do you like the form that they're going with? Tank and set up in the top jungle, and then really playing the scaling through that mid bot.
I will say that it has looked better for them. Their macro, honestly, they're making the right decisions. The problem's coming down to their individual mechanics, not being able to land the necessary skill shots. But to be honest with you, J-Rio, I didn't fall in love with AXIZ for these, bog standard drafts. I fell in love with them for the chaos, the madness they brought to the table, including, like the Bard roams from Yellow Yoshi in the top side, Totu's Draven top side, things like that here. And for AXIZ, I would love a return to that, but maybe not this game. I do think that for this game, it is going to come down to playing standard, playing comfortable, because for both these teams, this game might decide whether or not they're going to be 6th or 7th, whether they make playoffs or not.
It is indeed. Now, as you said, these two have beaten the same competition, but they've not had the same opposition all the time. Now, AXIZ have played against the big three. Burning haven't played against Sengoku yet, I do believe, which does mean that they've slipped up on a team that potentially could lose to AXIZ. Echo, obviously it's a straight head-to-head. We all can agree that this is definitely going to be a little bit of a flip. Are you definitely backing your Burning Core team? And if so, what is their key to success in your eyes?
I'm definitely, yes. I'm definitely going to back them. I gotta support my boys. Right? You know, I have to do it. I will say though, it's definitely gonna be rough, and I think that if they want to win, they definitely need to invest a lot into their bot lane because look, you look at Axis, right? I mean, spring especially. It wasn't spring. It was Sanctuary season, right? For the side of Axis, Sanctuary was looking great, and I mean he's been looking pretty decent this time around as well. And so I feel like that's a threat that they definitely need to recognize. Ray Farkey, for example, he's been pretty big for his team, but he's shown us that he can weak side very effectively. So I don't think we have to worry about him as much. And Dice, he's just been kind of he's been kind of there. When he pops off, he looks great. If not, then he's kind of like, hey, I'm here. You know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what he rolls. Is it going to be a nat 20?
Exactly.
Is it going to be a nat 1? We'll find out. But we're going to go into draft Echo KO RMC. Let's see which one of your two teams picks up the win.
Yes, sir. Let's get right into it. And already, a couple bands off the table. We do see from the side of Burning Core, getting rid of the Poppy, Renata, and the Lucian. Very bot lane focus and AXZ in return. That Senna won't be seeing that this time around. And the Darius taking that away from Ray Farkey. Tears are being shed, but the Velvet Band as well. We surprised. Well, I mean, I was gonna say, are we surprised by any of this? But already by your reaction, already we're seeing with the Velvet here. Please do explain to me what's up.
I mean, it is patch 12.12. Velvet is enabled here, Echo, but it's not a champion that you necessarily associate with the LJL. And to me, the fact that AXZ is banning this tells us that Burning Core probably has practiced it. Flawless has been, practicing this particular champion here, and AXZ felt like, what, we don't have a good read on it. Let's just ban it for now. It does leave up, of course, all the open sort of generally OP junglers like the Viego, like the Wukong here, and Burning Core, they're just going to pick that Wukong right away. It's interesting to note that Flawless actually hasn't played Wukong up to this point yet.
Surprisingly as well, Wukong being one of the, I think it's like a 90 plus something presence in the LJL itself and just being picked constantly, if not being banned. And same with Zarya, really, so not too surprising with both of those first picks coming out here. It's AXZ with their second round. Let's see what they're opting to grab up for themselves here. With the Zarya already being locked in, you think you can take a gander as to what the support's going to be looking like?
I'm thinking of Yuumi right now. Just feels like the best support to pair with that Zeri. It's a hyper mobile support, which can, or pardon me, it's a support that can match the hyper mobility.
Yeah,
of the
if you're mobile, then it's mobile.
yeah, exactly. Right, you're taking a cap. Interesting though to me, the Gnar blind pick from AXZ. We saw this last, and I am not a fan of Gnar blind pick. You literally just gave that free lane over to Ray Farkey here. Now GP is not necessarily the best counter into Gnar, but Ray Farkey obviously saw the matchup and goes, you know what, I'm comfortable with this. I'll play this tons of times, and as far as I'm concerned, that's going to give me that free lane I need to skill up.
Yeah, also they're hovering it. The draft profit might just come to fruition here as they are hovering that Yuumi, but haven't locked it in yet, and I've been known to get baited, and it's looking like I'm about to get baited here. They're really not sure who to look for. Gotta go with the Leona. And that's going to be tricky, I feel like, just looking at Burning Core, right, going into the Callista as well, landing those Zenith Blades, definitely going to be a bit of a tough ask.
Yeah, and I feel like part of this, Echo, is just because Ozuka and Loser, neither of them play Enchanters. They've only played Engage Tank so far, and you know what, it's fine. Like you said, Zenith Blade landing it's a little bit tough as the Leona, but if you do start landing that CC, it definitely is going to do a lot to Callista, more than potentially a Yuumi would. I do like the Nautilus ban coming up from AXZ though, because Loser has only played the Nautilus up to this point, and now that you've taken both of these away, you're down to pretty much Alistar and Rel if you're looking for like engage heavy supports, or maybe the Amumu like we saw last game, but I don't know how practiced Loser is on that Amumu and how much limit testing you can get away with AXZ here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right, I feel like this is probably not the game when you want to try a limit testing. Like, and you had the scrims for that. This time around, you gotta put all your cards down on the table. The last ban about to come up from Burning Core as well. We saw Recon being taken away earlier as well, and so see what Burning Core looks to take off the table. It's gonna be the Trundle. Want to get that on out of here.
Wow, okay, that seems to be the LJL's answer to the Wukong here, and frankly, Echo, I'm a little bit surprised because generally, internationally, the answer to Wukong has been Talia. In NA specifically, it's been a little bit more Lilia here, both of which are on the table. And I don't, yeah, and that's the problem with Swamp right now, is that Swamp has played 3 champions, one of them being the Lilia. I would have preferred to see the Lilia. Instead, we're going to see the Viego Wukong trade, which is not really answers into each other. They both want to do different things, and it just feels like, okay, both junglers are handshaking that we'll go our own way in terms of how we want to gank, how we want to farm, and how we want to team fight.
Yeah, no, okay. The Silas lock coming in here, most likely for Dice. And there, yep, okay, there it is. Like you said, hovering that Alistair. Hadn't locked it in yet, so I'm not going to say anything just yet. Do want to pivot, though, Dice on that Silas. Definitely playmaking potential is there, but I feel like Silas is also just one of those champs with so much CC that you've got. Oh, okay. The Pike?
Where is this coming from, Echo? This feels like it's coming out of left field. Pike is generally not good into tank engagers, because if you hook the tank, great, Leona just got a free engage onto potentially the Pike or to the Kalista here. It's actually really good into Enchanter, so I'm very surprised that we're seeing the Pike picked up here. And it also means that Burning Core don't have themselves a strong front line. Your front line is going to be flawless on this Wukong, and that's about it here. It's not really that tanky, especially into magic damage, like a Victor can bring to the table here. So I'm very surprised by this Pike pickup here, even though I'm perfectly fine and happy with the Silas pickup. There's so many good ults to take away for Dice.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, oh my god, I'm just imagining the solo flare. It's definitely one of those games, right? If Dice wants to pop off, you have a pretty good opportunity this time, right? A lot of good scaling ults as well. You could take that now I forget the Victor ult. I literally just had it.
Storm.
I was good. Thank you so much. I just had it, and then it flew on away. And I was like, well, that sucks. But yeah, overall, a lot of good ult for him to steal. Do you think, just looking at the comp though, is this a game where we're gonna see Dice pop off, or do you think he's gonna kind of be more in the background a little bit, trying to set things up?
I think a lot of that does come down to this mid lane matchup, Echo, because the Victor is a counter pick, and Victor does enjoy the range advantage over Silas. Sure, you can steal the Chaos Storm, but are you really going to be able to fight the Victor in the gravity field, for example, when you're melee into range? To me, the bigger question comes down to the players, because Dice has popped off, has been a big carry for Burning Core in their wins, and likewise for AXIZ. In both their wins so far, Megumin carried those wins. He needs to pop off, and in their losses, Megumin has been largely non-existent. So Dice, as a player, I think has a favorable matchup into Megumin. So it depends on what Megumin shows up today here, Echo. If it's the Megumin who can carry games, and I don't think this Silas is going to have a fun time whatsoever, but if it's like regular Megumin, then it's like, you know what? I think he can outplay that.
Only time will tell with that one. I think we really need to pivot and obviously keep our eyes on for a lot of this match is going to be that bot lane. It's like we were talking about earlier before we got into draft itself, right? Sangshu was a huge part of why AXIZ got to where they were in the spring split. And same thing I dare say for Yuhi as well.
Yeah, and this game in particular, we're seeing very different AD carries come out for the two of them, Echo, right? For Yuhi, we're not seeing the Aphelios, or I believe the other champion he picked was the Ezreal, one game of that here. It's a Kalista, and like Illusion, you gotta win early with this Kalista here, and you're running into Sangshu's Zeri, which is a terrifying thought. He's really good at these hyper carries here, so if you don't crush him early, well, then Sangshu can definitely take over this game.
Yeah, Yuhi as well, grabbing the cleanse there. Wow, so he's got just unlimited mobility coming out, and then plus the cleanse. Does not ever want to be locked down. And also, no surprise there with the lethal tempo as well. The amount of spears that are going to be coming out is going to be nasty if you get yourself caught up in those.
Yeah, and as a engaged support as well, you do have to be careful about, tanking too many of those, because the damage doesn't come from the spears itself, it comes from the rend. So it's actually a big burst of damage coming through from Kalista there. So a lot of times you're like, okay, you know what, I'm fine. We're winning this until you're not. So
it's all okay, right, guys? And then boom,
exactly.
This is gone. Yeah, definitely. Noticing though, both already looking for some heavy engages coming through. That is some aggression that I like to see. I told you we got to keep our eyes on that RMC. That is going to be flash and ignite down though. Obviously taking them considerably low, getting the flash out from Sanctu as well. But regardless, do you feel like that was maybe just a bit uber aggressive there? Maybe a bit too much trying to show something off here?
Hey, Matt, you know what? If you're trading flash for flash on the support to AD carry, the support's happy with that. And one thing, Echo, that I have liked a lot about Burning Core's bot lane, I don't like the revolving door of Yuhi, AD carry and support, but I do like the fact that Loser has come into this and has shown zero fear. Even that flash, it's really incredibly aggressive, right? You're looking for that pick here. And you're right, you're burning 2 summoners for 1 from Sangshu. But I think as a Pyke, that is how you have to play. You have to put the enemy on the back foot. We said it before. If as a Pyke, you're on the back foot yourself into a Leona, things are going to get really troublesome here. So I love the idea, even if the punish doesn't fully come all the way through.
Oh my god, Loser just threading the needle there with that hook. Not quite gonna find it, but Flawless making his way on down. There is a ward in that bush there, so we'll get spotted out. He has a good idea. Yeah, is gonna go ahead and sweep and find out. Wow, that damage coming out though already from Yugi on the Sangshu. Just cannot move at the moment. Maybe we do see the junglers kind of run into each other though. Already seen some pings for help coming out here as Flawless is looking to rotate on in. Swamp realizing what's going down, charging up that Spectral Model, looking for something. He's going to hit the clone, though, so ultimately, nothing going to come out of it.
Yeah, but I do like the idea here from Burning Core. They recognize that, hey, our bot side's strong. Let's invade on this here. My reinforcements will get there before yours will. And unfortunately, it doesn't pan out at all. You do manage to pick up that scuttle, though, so it does protect Yuhi and Loser a bit, and they are free to continue pushing. I think for AXIZ right now, you kind of need to evaluate, hey, where do we want to go here? We've got that range advantage mid lane, but Megumin, like we said, tends to be a little bit passive in lane, hasn't punished Dice whatsoever in these first 4 levels. And maybe you go to that top side, maybe you try and set Ray Farkey behind. I don't think Yellow Yoshi can do it alone, so I'd love to see Swamp start making tracks towards that top half of the map here.
Already looking like it is in this town path here. Is going to get spotted out by a ward, though. So a lot of information coming out. Not going to make it to that scuttle in time. Maybe they set up for something here. Flawless already waiting for Swamp. If he can make something happen here, that'd be absolutely huge. Going to start engaging on those denting blows are already starting to hurt with that red buff burn as well. We should see the rotation coming out from Yellow Yoshi, though, eventually to try and help him out. Kind of, you might have waited a little long here, though. We do see the Spectrum Moth dash coming up from Swamp. The flash. You gotta get him, he does. And dang, Yellow Yoshi, you gotta help your boy out. That was like a free kill for him. And he just gets on out of the Yellow Yoshi like, listen, man, I need my farm. Sorry, bro.
And the thing is, Yellow Yoshi doesn't even get that much farm from pushing in either, unfortunately, there. And when you lose your jungle like that, you have to back off. You can see that Yellow Yoshi doesn't dare to step up to that wave because you know that, hey, Flawless is probably in that area. And I guess this is the problem, Echo. I called for Swamp to go topside under the assumption they would work together as a team. This is the right call from Swamp. You don't have prio mid lane. You're running to that top side. And this is where Yellow Yoshi just needs to come down. How many minions does he get right there? 0, Echo. He doesn't get a single minion because of that. And yeah, you just kind of gave up that jungle pressure. And now Swamp is in, well, a swamp where he can't really help anybody out. His lanes need to actually back him up, and his lanes won't receive reinforcements. So AXIZ, true to form, down gold already this early into the game.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, if it's all part of the script, there's still maybe an area where they come back. Regardless, though, first objective is on the map. That mountain drag is alive, and so we'll see some movement getting over there. I was going to say surely, soon but surely, and I can't even speak anymore. Cats is my job. It's 7 a.m. I'm going to use that as an excuse. I'm still waking up a little bit, but already Brandon Core is putting on some performance. That's definitely waking up there, though. Nice Zenith play coming out. We just see the cleanse getting dropped in the flash flow from Yuki, and so Loser gonna be able to dash on out of there, and so they are gonna get that flash cleanse out from Yuki. He can definitely punish that for the next couple of minutes, but overall won't quite find the kill.
And despite that good punishing gank here, Burning Core should still have control over the dragon here. They do have the Ren from Yuhi. They can quite easily stack that. It's very difficult for Swamp to outsmite both Flawless and Yuhi simultaneously. Ozuka and Sanchi do have to be careful, though. They're playing with fire. They're calling Swamp down, and they want to pull another 3v3 here. But if they get hooked before Swamp gets there, Flawless is already waiting in the wings.
Definitely realizing something is up here. They, like I want to say, they do want to punish the fact that Yuhi doesn't have that cleanse, doesn't have that flash, and it could be absolutely huge if they can find something here. These mini waves pushing in slowly but surely. Swamp, not sure if it's going to come down to it, though, so it's going to initiate that recall just in case. It's looking like, yeah, he's going to go on head back. Nothing really going to happen there just yet. Wants to get some more of those items, and you know what? Respectable.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to say that right now, Sanchu and Ozuka are doing just fine. We already said that the Kalista has to kind of win the lane out early. And for all that we saw Loser punish, blow the flash from Sanchu early on, Burning Core as a whole weren't able to really take advantage of that. One thing we kind of didn't touch on too much in Draft or Echo was sort of how the teams want to interact with their skilling, because it's fairly balanced, right? Burning Core has the Gangplank and the Silas, AXIZ has the Victor and the Zeri, but I think when it comes down to just who can carry harder here, my faith is on Sanchu to be able to pop off and carry. My question is on Megumin, whereas Burning Core, Ray Farkey we know consistently will carry games. and Dice is sort of the other big question mark. So the mid laners being question marks, I'd love to see more action based around those mid lanes right now for both these teams.
Yeah, no, definitely. Is overall, we've seen Dice actually moving around the map quite a bit. Is going to go ahead, allow that blue buff to be snagged for him. That's going to definitely be quite helpful for him in that lane. We see Swamp trying to make something happen here, maybe moving into the jungle here of Burning Court, see if he can catch someone out. Maybe looking to catch out Flawless here as he's going for that ward.
Revenge.
Signals that something's going down. He needs some backup, charging up that Spectrum. It's going to land it. A lot of damage coming out. Now that is that Sheen as well. Conquer Yellow Yoshi with the rotate. He's finally here. He's like, my bad about before, bro. Yo, a huge jump though. They still oh my god. There is no way. He just did. Oh my lord. I would just FF. I just go home now. I mean, that was just give up the jungle, bro. It's done.
Oh, I'd be so tilted right now if I was Axis. They're gonna keep on going though.
Oh yeah, they're still gonna keep on going though. The gravity field does get dropped down. Cannon Barrage though. Oh, trying to grab himself. That abduct, not quite gonna land it though. Does get the hijack though, so has that solar flare. Maybe Dice can utilize it, make something happen. They do want to just zone them off of this. Oh, very nice two-man stun coming out there, though. Ray Farkey might have stepped up a little bit far. Does need to be careful. Barrel's not doing the damage he's expected just yet, but they have zoned them off of the eye effectively. And so at the end of the day, if Burning Core can't have it, no one can.
Yeah, Burning Core doing a great defense there. Not only do they deny it away here, Echo, they've got the inside track because all of AXZ got pushed away. We're kind of low as well. So Dice and Yuhi get free push on this turret. They get Dragon as well if they so wish to pick it up. I'd love to see Burning Core rotate down there. They don't quite do it now, but again, let's not forget, they still have that Kalista Wukong strength and they can still go there. And there's really not much AXZ can do to contest it right at this moment.
Yeah, I as well with the Kalista, we were talking about earlier before how, you know, all this pressure they're applying haven't been getting that much for it. Feels like still fairly equal in farm, you know, no kills yet on Yuhi itself. And so I really would like to see something coming out here from Yuhi sooner than later, rather than letting Sangchu get to the point where it's like, you know, oh, I can't even fight this anymore.
I mean, to be fair to Burning Core, they do have a lead in both their solo lanes at this point. So considering those are the scaling lanes, they might feel fairly comfortable that they just hold Sangchu, hold Ozuka down in this bot lane here. And Ozuka gets hooked.
Oh, hook, stun, dash, everything under the sun coming out right now, stacking up those spears. The Ren comes out death from below, and you're going to the swimming city. Down goes Ozuka, and that's already the first step if you want to get Yuhi ahead.
Like I'm calling hacks right now. Somehow you've got an inside line to Burning Core. You tell them to gank bot, kill bot, and they do it. AXZ is just not paying attention to me. So
I mean, you gotta talk to your inside man, dude. It's like what's going on here?
Yeah, and huge props to Burning Core's bot lane as well. One of the things that is important here is that they're using losers pressure well so that Ozuka can actually roam very effectively. You're never quite sure, and if you leave Sangchu alone, the pike execute damage is there. Now Dragon is going to be taken away, and Ozuka is going in.
Yeah, I'm going and trying to find something Cyclo though. I don't think that Ozuka realized how much damage is coming out from the side of Burning Core here. Down he goes. Kill going on over to Yuhi. Hailstorm gets a drop though there with the hijack as well coming out from Dice. Gonna dash on over the wall. Not quite gonna find anything. And an interesting idea coming out from Ozuka. Let's call it that. But at the end of the day, just no one there to follow up with him.
And they had a numbers disadvantage on that play as well, Echo. So it really feels like AXZ overextending to force a lot of these fights. You don't have to sit back, let Sangchu scale up. That is your win condition right now. Who are you trusting to carry these fights at this moment? Megumin hasn't completed first Mythic either yet at this point, and you're playing to a Kalista. AXZ just need to slow down, and now I'm worried because Burning Core can accelerate the pace. We're talking about Loser holding Ozuka to that bot lane. Well, now it's the other way around. Now it's Loser starting to roam around, and Ozuka and Sangchu need a way to lock down this pike, or else everybody on the side of AXZ is at risk if you can't track this pike.
Yeah, Ozuka just a lot of aggression coming out. I mean, don't get me wrong, I respect it, but it's like, who are you trying to impress, bro? Like, listen, we looked at your team. We're like, this is a team that's gonna take a little bit of time to come online, and it's all good. You know, you can play the slow game. You don't gotta just rush in and try and find everything. Ozuka's like, nah, bro, I'm sending it. I'm getting these kills for Sangchu. He's not scaling. He's gonna be fed already at minute 10, and it hasn't really been working out for him. It just feels like.
Just gonna say, if you had just picked the Yumi right there for your Zeri, you'd have been fine. Granted, it probably would be a little bit rougher into the pike, but you also wouldn't be running it in like that. And part of that was also Dice's flash that really put Ozuka so out of position when that Zenith Blade landed. But the problem is that you can't trust that that won't happen regularly. There's so much mobility on the side of Burning Core. Like everybody except for Ray Farkey has a dash here. So that Zenith Blade suddenly becomes, well, a two-edged blade here, which really can backfire.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we definitely saw it happen there as well. But for now, both objectives going to take some while to come online. We do see you picking up the shield bow there already. So that is going to be a big spike doing a lot of damage. Flawless. Maybe waiting for something here. Yoshi, he knows something. So he's got a sneaking suspicion that something's waiting for him in that bush there as this wave is slowly but surely looking to crash on into his turret. And I think he's prepping for the worst right now. That rage bar isn't quite high enough just yet. Trying to get it to fill up. A lot of damage coming out, though. Flawless is here. Has that Cyclone. Gets knocked up. The bounce to try and escape, but you do not escape the denting blows.
Yeah, and Echo, you called it, right? As the Gnar, when you feel like you're under pressure like that, he has the ward in the tri-bush. He needs to start stacking that rage bar ASAP. He needs to step up and start hitting that wave. You had the flash to escape as well, so there really was no reason to play that far back. And now that you're diveable, this is the problem here. This is why we said you shouldn't blind pick your Gnar, because Ray Farkey knows this matchup so well, right? Knows exactly how much pressure he can put in when he can call his jungler over. And even worse for Yellow Yoshi now is that they can do this on repeat. There is no safety in the top lane for you. Ray Farkey should be about to hit Mythic, and once that Trinity Force comes through, good luck.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, good. I think good. Honestly, not much more to say. Good luck, really. That's all you can really give them. Ultimately, though, looking at some of these mythics that aren't coming online, we do see the Mask coming on for Megumin. Bit of damage coming out there. The Divine for Swamp. No surprise, really. There is there anything really in this game so far, build wise, that is surprising you in any way?
Not too much. I mean, sometimes with Viego, we see things like Blade of the Ruin King into the Frostfire Gauntlet is a newer build that we do see, but I think, going the Divine Sunder is acceptable. There's no real tank you're trying to cut through, so it's more just like the burst and a bit of sustained damage. What worries me a little bit more, Echo, is the lack of mythics we're seeing on Yellow Yoshi and Sandshrew right now, because it does mean that you can't fight this next fight here. And Herald just came live. You can see Burning Core setting up for it here, and AXIZ, I think this is one of the ones where you kind of just put vision down and then you walk away here, but they're grouping up. They want to contest this, and this is not, to me, a safe call.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it kind of feels like they don't have that much of a choice, right? In typical AXIZ fashion, they are down around 3k gold 15-minute mark, and so they need this Herald if they want to start funneling some of that gold, get one of those towers down. It was already denied them that first time around, so this time around they're going to look to try and do something here. And just look at that Swamp. He knows for a fact he cannot enter this river without putting his life on the line. It's looking like they're going to send maybe Ozuka to try and do it first here as Burning Core. She's looking to just bait them in. Huge Cyclone coming in, though, trying to find something. Flawless did get on out of there, did get taken considerably low, but ultimately a lot of cooldowns being popped. Are going to opt to actually let that Herald reset as the Dragon is online now. Do you think we're going to see maybe like some objective trading coming out here, or does Burning Core just kind of, honestly, they can just do whatever they want and they'll get both?
I think at this point, Burning Core needs to play it slow if they want to get both here. That kind of messed them up. Swamp might be caught out if the hook can land, and it doesn't. But it does secure Burning Core that inside track finally here. They do have a bit more team fighting ultimates. We saw a whole bunch of ults coming down, but the key one for Burning Core that they have the advantage over is that Fate's Call for Yuhi here. It is going to be the equivalent of something like a Solar Flare for AXIZ, which isn't up and available.
Yeah. That control, I know the pain as a Viego player. That control ward is just Swamp cannot step in, try and go for that steal, and Ozuka steps up a bit far, taking a bit of damage. But ultimately, that is going to be the Rift Herald secured by Burning Core. And if they want, they're actually going to maybe go for a reset or two, and then look to move it on down to grab this drag. You see Ray Farkey, who's just been pushing out that solo bot lane by himself, heading back as well, looking to get some more items. Overall, though, Burning Core, they're looking strong right now. I'm a little worried for AXIZ if they don't pick up the pace.
Yes, I am very worried for AXIZ, even if they do pick up the pace here, Echo. We've already said before, like, it feels like whoever's trying to pick up the pace is struggling a little bit. I kind of joked about having a pinball machine, flippers on either side, but that has been the case. Whenever AXIZ tried to make a play, it's backfired. When Burning Core tried to make the play on Herald, it didn't look good either, right? Like, they needed to take it a bit slower. They did right then. And I am thankful that Burning Core at least is playing a little bit cleaner right now. They're going for this dragon. They're taking a numbers advantage, and I'm a little bit questioning what Axis is doing right now. Right, like the dragon is up, and we're seeing them all clustered around Herald. What are you looking for?
Like you said, man, 2 flippers for that pinball machine. Is so far we've been seeing that, especially with Ozuka, trying to find anything that they can. But regardless, second drag gonna go into the hands of Burning Core. That's gonna put them onto Soul Point next time around. They can secure 5 minutes for Access to go ahead and prep for that. I'm a little with Dice. Oh, dude, he's Megumin. He knows something. I think he knows something's up. He's kind of trying to pull the wave a bit more so he can escape to the river if need be. Dice looking to go in though. Oh, he's gonna actually miss, but so much damage comes out from the cannon barrage. Going gold, letting that Chaos Storm do the damage, but it doesn't even matter. The Chain Lash gonna do too much and put him in the dirt.
Okay, Echo, I think it's worth remembering this Victor was a counterpick to the Silas. And generally, the way your counterpick is supposed to work is your wave clear, you get the poke down, and Silas will struggle to engage onto you. If Silas gets onto you, that is no longer a counterpick. That is you dead. And we got to see that perfectly, Dice playing that really patiently. And oddly enough, because of that top play, it actually sets them up for the mid play as well there. They get to drop the Herald, they get to push in, and Axis being down a member means that they've got to back off. So Burning Core from that one play top get a massive boost of gold. They're up now, 6,000 gold here from having all 3 outer turrets down.
Yeah, no, definitely not a position you want to be in as Axis. And I mean, we're seeing that gold being reflected, but oh, look at that. He's just sitting in the bush, man. He was waiting, biding his time. I can only respect the patience.
Yeah, and I love the fact that there were missing pings actually that came down before that. From I'm assuming it's red ping, so it's probably from the side of Axis. So they, like you said, they kind of knew something was up here, and Megumin's like, no, I can step up a bit further. No, you
surely.
Like, stay away from the bushes, mate. And it is, I believe, an ocean map, so there are more bushes than usual as well, which is really not going to work in the favor of Axis when they were even, much less when they're behind it now. The bright side for them, of course, is that you can start setting up these death bushes to try and make picks onto Burning Core. But to do that, you've got to get to the objectives first and set up the vision. And that's something that Axis has been lacking thus far.
Yeah, definitely. When it feels like they're just, I mean, they're getting zoned off incredibly well by Burning Core. We saw, especially with that Herald, right? That singular control ward was stopping Swamp from even attempting to get anywhere close. Even with the mist getting dropped, just can't get close. The moment you do, you have to run into the arms of Flawless. You have to run into Lose. You have to run into Dice. That's just not a situation that you want to be in.
No, and they're not defending the vision that they're setting down either for Axis. We just saw everything cleared up around that top side when Baron is up, whereas Burning Core, they're stepping up, they're clearing this. And it's really coming down to who gets the engage first between Ozuka and Loser, or even between Flawless and Ozuka right now. And unfortunately, Burning Core, they're strong, they're fueling it, and they're kind of going for this here.
Yeah, looking to find something, but once again, Ozuka thinking that he sees an opportunity, but it's going to go down Heartbreak onto Floss, trying to at least find him. Can he get it? Is going to get that kill, though. That's going to be a lot of money going into his pocket here, though. Oh. But now, Swamp, was it worth it, buddy? I'm not sure. It's going to go down to the heads of Yuhi. TP coming out as well. Now they're going to look to just collapse on down, and a huge flash coming out to dodge the barrel. Not going to find that abduct chain either, and so Dice going to hijack the ultimate. But ultimately, low play onwards are not going to find too much. Why am I saying ultimately so much? My God, ultis are getting dropped. Ultimately, they're finding this. And they do get that first kill onto Flawless, get it into the hands of Swamp. But that's about it, really.
Yeah. Ironically, Echo, only 4 ults actually used in that fight. So I think he used about as many ultimates as they did right there in that particular fight. But hey, I had said, and I feel like this game is kind of putting me to lie a lot. I was just talking about who engages first, getting those picks. But Ozuka engages first. And again, it's the same question that we've been having this entire time, right? Why are you engaging here? Note that they have no vision whatsoever. So Ozuka is effectively going in completely blind. You know Yuhi was mid lane because he just pushed a wave, but you had no vision on the rest of where Burning Core is. So for Ozuka, you're banking that, hey, between me and Swamp, we can burst somebody down right away. And guess what? You were wrong. You don't have enough damage. Swamp isn't far ahead enough. And now you're forcing flashes to get burnt. Sangchu's flash down, Megumin's flash is down. And that means for the next fight, for the next 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes here, AXIZ have to be so careful, and they don't have a way to escape when Flawless looks for those dives, when Yuhi throws that Fate's Call into the backline.
Yeah, and with this dragging up in 12 seconds as well, I mean, we got to fight Bruin. Loser looking for something here. Bone Squirt's going to land. Wow. Excuse me? Huge damage coming out. Dice as well with the hijacked solar flare, getting a stun down as well. Get themselves too. And right now, we are seeing them pay the price of those flashes being gone. They will find their kill to Flawless, so a huge low gravity field. Maybe they can find more to Yuhi, though. Oh, quite get it. And down goes Swamp as well. That's got to be 4 members of AXIZ down. Things were looking interesting there for a moment, but Burning Core pulls it back.
Interesting, Echo, is one way to put that one.
I wasn't gonna say it, but
I will, because you know what? I love AXIZ, and sometimes you gotta give your team tough love. Because what on earth are they doing? Like, time and time again. I love that Burning Core is pushing up. That is the right move for them to do. They are up so much gold right now, almost 10k. So them pressing up makes sense. What doesn't make sense is AXIZ kind of looking for the counter engage onto them. At this point, you fight under turret or nothing at all. And this is that initial setup we're talking about, right? With Burning Core getting a collapse in from all directions. But it's AXIZ stepping up. And once again, I want to highlight the vision or lack thereof on that map here. They don't see anybody except for whoever's in the lane. So when you start to pick that fight, suddenly it's like, okay, you're up. You have no vision behind you. Dice gets to look for that flank here. Loser's already hard enough to pin down, and it's just so free.
Now they're looking for Flawless. Once again, you're getting dropped as well, running for his life. Oh, they are. Yeah, okay, they are gonna find him. There we go. That's that first pick down. Actually, gonna look to maybe start up this barrier. That is, I gotta say, this is definitely very it's a play. Is it gonna work out for him? Is the question though. Ray Farkey isn't quite there just yet though. Yeah, they did find Yuhi. Huge damage coming out. This might have been the play indeed. It's gonna look to use that heartbreaker, but look at that Yuhi. Just they can't find the kill. Yuhi kiting out perfectly. The barrel damage is very strong. Sanctu's strong himself, but regardless, Ray Farkey, so much damage. Oh, death from below. Finds themselves the jungle, and so that should be secure that they don't go for the Baron. Gonna maybe look for more here as well. Ray Farkey, gotta be careful here though. Yuhi is back in the fight, trying to dodge away from that triple shot though. Sanctu looking for something, has that movement speed, gonna dash over the wall. And ultimately, here we go again saying it, but I mean, we're seeing the same thing happen over and over. AXIZ find themselves that pick, but then they lose. They get the bag, and then they kind of just fumble it in front of the bank.
But this time, Echo, at least AXIZ find the right end. At least you get the pick onto Flawless. And I respect the Baron call. You're so far behind that you're kind of gambling that Baron is our only shot right now. If we don't take Baron, what are we going to do? To me, it's a bigger issue that they couldn't kill Yuhi, right? They find Yuhi even through the flash. Yellow Yoshi, great follow-up, but Swamp just doesn't have enough damage. And this is a mix of durability patch and also just 8k gold advantage coming through from Yuhi here. And this was actually a little bit disturbing to me that Sanctu was just losing the straight 1v1 against Ray Farkey as well. If Sanctu's your big win con, if Swamp is supposed to be your burst damage, and neither of them can do their jobs, well, that becomes a bit of a struggle at this point. You've got to continue finding these sort of individual picks, and even more importantly, you've got to know when to let go. If you can't burst out Yuhi immediately, if you can't burst out whichever target you're looking for, the moment you see Ray Farkey and Dice show up, you kind of have to start saying, okay, guys, we might have to look at disengaging.
Yeah, I'm running out of time to do so. Obviously, on Soul Point, Burning Core at the moment, almost 10k gold up right now. You can see the gold being reflected as well. Ray Farkey with some of the most in the game, and we saw it there as well. The barrel damage, it's just, I mean, it hits so hard. You get hit by a single barrel, you basically have to disengage if you don't want to trade your life.
And for Burning Core now, the map is their oyster. However they want to close this, they can do it. If you want to go for Baron, that's fine. I don't even think they'd lose at Baron if they try to do Baron while trying to kill AXIZ with the lead that they have. If they want to go for split push, well, nobody can match Ray Farkey here. So he can split push all he wants. If Yellow Yoshi tries to go toe-to-toe, he's going to lose. And you can always go for Soul as a potential win con as well. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Ocean is not as strong as it used to be, but you're going to be unkillable. And we've already seen that AXIZ can't kill you. So if you couldn't kill them before with Ocean, it's only going to get worse.
Only going to be a harder task to complete over in Core. I just stacked up in this bush waiting to see if something's going to happen. They're like, come on, we know you'd like to go for those initial engages. Let's see what you got. Ray Farkey here to join the party as well. If you can set up a barrel or two, get some initial damage out, that would definitely be huge. But gonna opt instead to go for some backs, go for some resets, get some items, because like you said, the map's their oyster. They can do what they want with it. And with that dragon up in a minute as well, definitely don't want to be going down right now. TP coming up from Dice as well to shove out this bot lane. So I'm pretty sure it looks to me like they're definitely gonna be pivoting to get this drag.
Yeah, and Dice actually might have overextended a little bit with that TPA, but AXZ, without the vision, they're scared to go punish this. They've been
Yeah.
punished so many times for making these plays in the dark that Dice is getting to TP down there for absolutely free. And now in 25 seconds here, that dragon spawns. Look at the vision control echo. Once again, AXZ set up. They lose all the vision control, and Burning Core can now deny everything in here. AXZ are working blind in Fog of War.
Yeah, it's that Umbral Glaive diff, man. Loser is just, I mean, he's swimming around the map, finding wards left and right, taking them out, and there's just nothing AXZ can do. We'll say, hey, you know, at least they're learning, right? They're realizing, oh, we can't just step up here when we have no vision. You know, we have to do our due diligence if we don't want to just be absolutely massacred. And so that means that all of them are alive at the moment for this fight. Dragon is live. It is going to be sold for Burning Core if they can pick it up. And Flawless looking to start it off. Loser is pushing up, putting down some vision to see what they're working with. Ray Fark, you're going to stay in that back line.
This could be
does
bad.
have that cannon barrage available. It might just be a smite fight here. Maybe going to look to find something here. Are going to go in. They actually do find the dragon. And that's the start of the fight. Cyclone getting dropped as well. It's a two-man assault though right now. Flawless in the back line. It's going to go down. They find that reset. Going to get onto Loser. It's going to use the plant to get over the wall. A lot of low health bars on AXZ. This might just be you take it and leave. They do find Ozika. They're trying to recall on that push. Will go down, but I would say it's worth.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know how Sangshu stole that. I want a replay of how Sangshu secured the dragon there. And honestly, Burning Core, I feel like they've got the lead and they're not pushing as much as I'd like to see them push with, right? We saw that death push they set up at the Baron. Did you have to? No. Even for this particular play, did you have to wait this long? No. The moment Yellow Yoshi went mini, that's your sign to kind of go. Unfortunately, Ray Farky wasn't with the rest of the team here. And now, okay, Yuhi's stacking up a ton of Rens and...
Oh, it's the
No
Ultra Shock
way.
Laser. Wow. Okay, new smite confirmed. Like Ultra Shock Laser, new smite meta.
I mean, the damage on that's nothing compared to a Ren. I am in shock that they did not manage to time that Ren smite properly. And by the way, that was blind onto Ozika. They had no vision. They knew Ozika was in the bush. They didn't know where in the bush. Dice absolutely cracked my man. And sure,
That's
Echo.
some
Okay,
Sixth Sense.
good chance for AXZ to come back in. And to be fair, when they win, the games go like 40+ minutes here. But that's still a little bit rough, and that's coming off of Burning Core not punishing. Great, you got one dragon. You're still at soul point. You're still facing down the barrel of a Baron, and you're still facing down Ray Farky's nigh infinite scaling at this point.
Yeah, no, I was gonna. If anything, you're facing the barrel of Ray Farky's gun right now because it's like he is just. He's like, come on at me. You see this little barrel I got right here? Oh, health bar's gone. Wow, where'd that go?
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, I mean, I obviously as an AXZ fan, I'd be shaking in my boots right now, bro. Is there still a window where they can get back into this, even if they find these individual picks?
So the thing with AXZ is that you can never count them out
Mhm.
till the very, very end, right? Like we said, we saw Sanctuary just steal away a dragon. And even in
True,
that fight as well,
true.
Sanctuary was spacing so well, Dice wasn't able to kill him. And if there was a player who could 1v5 here, it's got to be Sanctuary. So I still have faith, or not faith, I have hope that AXZ can still turn things around. I'm just very, very terrified of Ray Farky right now because that last fight had Ray Farky coming in really late. If Ray Farky is there from the very start, then I don't think that AXZ gets even a chance to approach that Dragon Pit next time.
I think just a huge blunder for them right now is that vision control, right? It's just that we see constantly Loser, especially on that Pike Umbral Glaive, is just so nasty when it comes to keeping your wards up because he just swims right in, boom, hits it once, swims right out. And if he's in a bad spot, just use that Phantom Undertow to just dash on out of there as we keep seeing him do. And it seems like whenever he does that, he pulls Ozuka right with him.
Yeah, and when I saw that Pike, I wasn't a huge fan of it into the Leona here, but but Loser, pardon me, has done a great job, in lane putting down the pressure and out of lane now as well. The hooks are still very impactful. Granted, the executes are a bit harder to sort of thread through these fights here, but the sheer amount of vision control and pressure he's giving with that invisibility is making this pick worth it right now. The big question for me, Echo, is going forward still, how effective are you going to be? Because Pike doesn't gain health, doesn't gain tankiness, right? If you build health, it gets converted to damage. So at some point, if you look funny at Loser, he dies. Right now, he still keeps getting away with the Phantom Undertow. But hey, once we start seeing the scaling come through from Swamp, from Sanctuary, from Megumin as well here, I don't think you're going to be able to keep getting away with that. So Burning Core do need to push their advantages while they still can, or else the game still in their favor, but will get a little bit tougher for them.
I think Flawless as well needs to be just a teeny bit more careful. I understand, on the Wukong, obviously you got to get in there right to actually be effective, especially to get those cyclones going, to get that clone in the right position. But I feel like every fight where we've seen AXIZ kind of maybe not turn it in their favor, but get something good out of it, it's always been because they find Flawless, they get that damage in, and then it's like you say, right? They look at Loser funny, and it's just like they snap them out of existence. They hit him with that Thanos gauntlet. They're like, goodbye, you are dust now.
Yeah, and like I said, there's still chances for AXIZ to come back into this. Honestly, after the first little while, where it was kind of just engaged a couple of very questionable fights, the game hasn't gone terribly for them here. I'm still kind of tracking Megaman quietly as well. The Victor hasn't been a big factor just yet, but I'm waiting for that one big team fight, right? Where suddenly, Callista, Silas gets locked down by that gravity field, allowing the Chaos Storm to absolutely rip them to shreds, pardon me. It's just that one big team fight, right? And that's how AXIZ plays, Echo. Even in their wins, against V3, against Roscoe Jesters, it was never clean. So I don't expect it to be clean this time either.
Yeah. It feels like, honestly, at this point, AXIZ really, you might as well just throw bodies at them, right? Just like Sanctuary. I mean, it's Sanctuary season, right? It was Sanctuary season in spring. They're looking to make it Sanctuary season right now. Throw the bodies at him and let Sanctuary. The problem is, it just doesn't do that damage. He's getting there. I do feel like he's definitely getting there, right? I mean, hell, he's stealing dragons at this point. Like, that should be a testament to something. But if he does get that damage, I might get a little worried for Burning Core. I would like to see them speed. Like, I'm sweating a little bit. Like, one or two drops of sweat are coming out because I'm like, hey, yo, we gotta move things along. We gotta finish this. We just got outsmited by a Zeri. Like, no, we can't let that happen, boys. Come on.
Yeah, well, thankfully, like we said, right, that's sole point. You only lost one dragon over. If they lose all 4 oceans, Echo, that's when.
No. That's not even, don't even manifest that into existence, bro. Don't even no. I don't even want to think about that. I don't want to consider that a possibility. Just no, man.
Well, I am going to, Echo, because I do want that. And you know what? That's your fault for backing a team called Burning Core. Of course, you're going to be sweating, win or lose. It's literally in their name here, mate.
Yeah, that's
so,
fair.
we'll have to see how it goes. Part of me also feels like Baron's going to be the big one, Echo, for both of these teams right now. Burning Core could take it, and they haven't taken it yet. It's actually, to me, the worst objective for AXIZ to try and contest. I think it's the one that you can more easily bait them into taking. And one of the things, too, is that the tankier the objective, the harder it is to actually beat Callista for it, because her Rend will outdamage Smite if you stack up enough spears into them as well. So I'd love to see Burning Core kind of set up around there with the vision control they have. Sneak a Callista in there. We saw Baron sneak just last game in the DFM Hawks game as well. I think you can do the same thing with the Callista as well. Get her into that pit with the healing, get one other person in there to share the damage. And yeah, once you get that Baron, then suddenly AXIZ, I don't think, gets to defend anymore. The damage boost Baron gives you is small, but it should be enough to tip them over any sort of open fights, and more importantly, will help them siege, which is something that their composition is struggling with range-wise right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like we'll also most likely then see also replays we've been seeing with all these heroes. Like, they have that terrain advantage. If they have that mid wave, pushed out as well, they are going to force AXIZ to funnel in through these little choke points that we saw last time when that Herald fight. Sure, obviously it was, it was a little more tame in comparison to now, but regardless, they pop that control ward down. They can see Swamp coming a mile away. They funnel them on through, and the moment AXIZ tries to do anything, boom, you just squash them right then and there. So it's like, it's a bad spot. You gotta be careful, really.
Yeah, and like we keep talking strategy. There's all these plays, but to me, I guess this is one of the reasons why these teams are currently 2 and 3. And one thing we kind of didn't touch on, Echo, is that the rest of the games for today are all between 2 and 3 teams. There's a 4-way tie between 4th and 7th right now. So as much as I said that for Burning Core and AXIZ, this could decide who makes that 6th spot and the 7th spot, that cutoff for playoffs. The same is true for Roscoe, Jesters, and CGA after this. And I think all 4 teams have struggled with their decision-making and macro to a certain extent. I actually think, as weird as this is going to sound, I think AXIZ probably actually has the best grasp of macro, just that their execution is terrible. And I was gonna say that I said that at the beginning of the day. I have changed my mind because of Ozuka just running it. But take out Ozuka, and I think AXZ has been playing the macro perfectly fine. So I need to see Burning Core step up on that aspect of things a little bit more, and I need to see, I think, Yellow Yoshi on this Nar step up mechanically as well. So far, the Mega Nars have not been as impactful as they kind of need to be at this point.
Yeah, we caught like a little glimpse of it, right, when they were able to get that stun onto Yuhi, and then just kind of lost after that. Didn't really find too much. There's a reason you're in the kitchen though, bro. It's like it's Flip City today. Honestly, these
Yeah.
couple of games, it's Flip City. There's always a reason to it, man. It's like you gotta when you're analyzing, it's the small details that matter. I think we're gonna go to a short break though. This pause a little bit longer than I'd like it to be. I'd like to just see Burning Core win, but they're really going to make me sit and wait, and they're going to make you all wait as well. So we'll throw it to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be right back on the Rift. Don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Took a little bit of time, and now there we go. My inside man was giving them the sauce. They're already on the Baron, looking to make something happen here. It's only 2 minutes at the moment. Just sussing out the vision right now, seeing what's going down. So maybe they're going to wait a little bit, but. A lot of pivoting coming down. Gotta say, Ray Farkey, though, in that bot lane. I'd like to see him slowly but surely maybe make his way up.
You know what? I call foul the fact that Echo called a timeout to get his inside man to pass that information on. It's working. I mean, Ray Farkey is backing off as well. And even if he isn't making his way up, AXIZ don't know that. So AXIZ is kind of scared. They're actually calling Yellow Yoshi up here. It's that game of chicken you have in that side lane sometimes where it's a game of information, right? When one person moves out, the other person pushes and it has to rotate. And now Yellow Yoshi's kind of caught in between lanes a little bit, moving out there. And the idea of trying to do this is eventually you pull somebody out until they're so far out of time that you can go for it. So now Burning Core have pulled Yellow Yoshi out sufficiently. Ray Farkey could just walk right up or just TP right in, and we're seeing that with Burning Core finally pulling the trigger.
Yep, they are indeed down to 7k health. Swamp realizing something's down. They are going to drop that control word, which is going to force Burning Core actually to back off. They don't want to start that up yet until they get that initial pick. That's a lot of respect coming out here for AXIZ, actually. I'm not going to lie. I thought for sure that they would just continue to send it, but they don't want to do anything too risky. Wow, that Ultra Shock Laser does hit pretty hard, though, and so that damage definitely coming along for Saint-Chu. Ultimately, though, AXIZ, I mean, despite being like a good 8k down, right, you're like, what, 9 kills down, they're still pressuring Baron Core. Now I'm calling Baron Core Burning Core incredibly well off the Baron.
Yeah, Burning Core or Baron Kant, apparently. They're struggling here. And to me, if you're going to look for the pick, then call Ray Farkey in. Because right now, like we said, the biggest, scariest guy on the map is Ray Farkey with this gangplank. Those barrels. Generally, when we're saying you're staring down the barrel of somebody's gun, it's not quite these barrels, but these barrels will do the same thing. They will absolutely chunk AXIZ. So if you're looking for a pick, you need GP there. You don't have pick otherwise. You're looking at loser to throw out and catch somebody, with that hook here. But Ozuka is more than happy to tank that, and Ozuka is finally tanky enough at this point that I don't think Flawless and Dice and Yuhi can burst him down quick enough before the rest of AXIZ respond.
Yeah, kind of realizing that as well. And we're also seeing the fact that you were talking about, right? You look at Loser the wrong way and he dies. That Ultra Shock Laser literally just took him down from 100 to 50. Like, that is scary when you're on that pike. That now literally you are a glass cannon. Like, the moment you get hit by anything, you are done.
And that just makes things even more tense, Echo, because it feels like one fight could very well decide the way this game goes right now. Granted, AXIZ haven't taken down any turrets, and that's massively important to note, because even at 30-something minutes, even at maxed out death timers here, I'm not confident you can take down 3 turrets and Inhibitor plus the 2 Nexus turrets in one push. So AXIZ has to win 2 fights pretty much back to back here, whereas Burning Core only really need 1 to just go shoving straight into the base. So Burning Core playing it slow, I understand it, but yeah, sometimes you just need to pick the pace up, man. Ray Farkey finally here as Ocean Soul once again is on the board for both these teams, or will be shortly.
Yeah, 20 seconds on the clock left for it. We already see Ray Farkey prepping with those barrels as well, with that extra damage that should be coming out from those. Maybe that's exactly what they need. TP as well from Yellow Yoshi. We do see the oh my god, the Soul Flare goes a little wide. They're trying to find Ozuka again, and down he goes.
Oh, not again.
That's one. Yep, they're doing it again to him. This should be a second actually. Ooh, Dice gonna go gold. Swap incredibly low as well. Is gonna go down to the Ray parlay though. Down he goes. Down goes 3. Can they find Megumin as well? Running for his life, and into the city you go. Down he goes as well. That's gonna be an ace for Burning Core. And like you said, there's only a couple of turrets from them and the base, but there's no minion wave there just yet. They have to wait. That's a bit of a mood killer, not gonna lie.
A little unfortunate. It does mess up the tempo of that particular series of events here, but Echo, good enough here. You get that soul this time uncontested because Swamp won't respawn in time. You get those turrets, you get to push in, and you can always reset for this Baron. And once again, we were just saying Ozuka can survive getting picked, but what Ozuka can't survive is going in 1v5. And Flash Zenith Blade, you're so deep in the rest of AXZ, can't even follow up here. The problem is, sure, Zeri's got range, but Megumin's Victor doesn't. And unfortunately for you, you started that fight 1v5. It becomes a 4v5. And Dice, great play on this Silas to be able to find Sanctuary. The moment Sanctuary is down, AXZ's entire team is routed.
Yeah, it's so sad to see as well because I really like that we saw Swamp. He had that Heartbreaker prep to get over the wall onto Dice the moment he came out of that stasis. But Ray Farkey was just like, no, I have Barrel, I do that. He's like, no, that's not happening. No, dude. Like, look at that. 6.7k damage dealt to champions last team fight. That is actually insane. The only person who even comes remotely close to that is Megumin with 4.9k, like a whole 1k difference, almost 2.
And I feel like where the damage is going is not equal either. Sure, Megumin's getting damage, but he's getting onto Flawless, onto Dice, onto these slightly tankier members here who have to sustain to heal back up. Whereas when Ray Farkey nails someone, well, unless you're Ozuka Yellow Yoshi, you kind of suffer. Ray Farkey isn't even going down 1v3.
Yeah, no, he's too.
Oh!
I'm at a loss for words, honestly. Down it goes. My God, Ozuka's gonna eat the dirt or eat the gunpowder, I should say. Same story for Yellow Yoshi as he goes down as well. The cannon barrage, Flawless. Might have stepped up a little farther. Needs his team to take out that turret for him just to be safe. And so they will go ahead and grab themselves 2 kills. Yo, a huge little hook there landing as well. Seichu just barely getting out of that one alive. The gravity field going to stop Dice in his tracks. There's that counter pick we were talking about. The flash hook from Loser won't quite land. But you know what will land? The turret and the inhibitor both going down in this bot lane. And it's looking to me like mid lane is soon to follow.
Yeah, they are pulling back out here. It's 20 seconds before Yellow Yoshi comes back up. Ozuka does have Solar Flare now that he's returned here. So Burning Core might actually have to abandon this particular push at this time. Flawless and Dice are simply too low, but they can always just come right back to it. And Echo, sorry, that 3v1 onto Ray Farkey here, it's just, they tried so hard and they can't even kill him. And the problem is now you're pulled out from under turret. And we've said this before, when you're this far behind, you fight out in turret, you fight under favorable circumstances. And I want to highlight this dive from Burning Core isn't exactly what you call clean here. They're attacking a lot of extra turret shots. Flawless is running in for very little reason. But when you're this far ahead, you can afford to do that. They're almost 20k ahead, Echo. 10k is already massive. Pushing 20, I don't recall the last time I've seen that big a lead.
Yeah, it is you hate to see it when you're on AXZ side, and they're definitely feeling it as well right now. Like you said, that 3-man Ray Farkey, who arguably isn't really the tankiest member on the team, other than the Trinity Force. Nothing else really giving him any HP, and regardless, he just takes so much punishment. Loser as well, gonna go gold. You know, he obviously he needs that for sure. I mean, my man, like we said, Glass Cannon, he gets touched once, he is done for, and so nice to see he has that. But Dice just snuck his way up in that top lane. He's like, okay, I mean, if you guys want to focus on that, I'll grab that turret and just dip.
Yeah, and now Burning Core just tearing them apart, right? If you deal with Dice, we take your turret. If you don't deal with Dice, he'll take your turret. And the Solar Flare comes down, but there's no follow-up onto it.
Yeah, you know, it was following up though. Flawless gonna go gold now. Last thing, actually, never mind. Actually, had the stasis from the Guardian Angel, and so you kill him, but he just gets up from the grave. Yellow Yoshi going gold in the thick of things, and he's going down into the dirt. And with that access, their base is cracked wide open. Their HP bar is hella low. Down goes Swamp as well. And now Megumin and Sanctu have to hold the line of the last turret standing, and it's gonna go down as well.
Oh,
no,
man.
don't do it. It's going in the last second. The barrel right under him. Ray Farkey with the disrespect. Can Sanctu at least find one kill? No, he cannot. And Burning Core gonna find themselves the equalizer. Going 3-3 now.
Okay, Echo. Respect. Your team won, fair and square. I don't know what to say to AXZ, man. Like, come on,
it was still tense. It was still tense. I definitely do feel it. It wasn't like a 20-minute stomp, like something like that. It was. There were definitely moments where I was like, please, Burning Core, don't do something stupid here. So I'll give him that.
For sure, but you know what, Echo? I need some time to recover after that, and to come up with good words to say for Axis. Burning Core, I have a plenty. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. J-Real will be back with us as well at that point to hopefully carry me through this moment of dark despair.
Well, one of you is happy, one of you maybe not so much. Burning Core picking up the win, and obviously Echo KO. You know what? It no longer stands that when you don't watch, they win. So maybe you're not the curse on them. You know, that's how it be. That's how it be. But back into this game, I feel like it was a pretty good showing for Burning Core. You know, I feel like they had their moments. They were able to build a pretty good lead. They were up 3.7k at 15 minutes. And RMC, we're going to come to you first. Do you feel like this is, although a good performance from Burning Core, also a really bad showing from AXIZ?
Yes, I mean, I think I made it evidently clear that I was very unhappy at the way Ozuka was engaging a lot of these fights and felt like a lot of the other game was thrown away by poor engages. But Jirio, I do want to give props to Burning Core as well. I do think they performed really well. And this is the thing with the Burning Core rosters, that they've got potential carries in every lane. Yuhi and Loser didn't quite pop off despite kind of winning out their lane, but Ray, Farkey, and Dice did this game. And I think this is why this team is constantly a threat and a bit of, I kind of want to say bait for people. It's like you want to trust in them, but they always, they're good enough to get out of the bottom end of things, but they're not quite good enough to break top 3.
Yeah, and Ray Farkey has always been a consistent one for Burning Core. It's been kind of the person that they're like, yeah, Ray Farkey, we got Ray Farkey. It's kind of like being like, oh yeah, well, I was trying to think about some footballers, but we'll move on from that one. It's like you have that power pick ready to go, and it's not always been able to carry them through. It's not always been able to be that Ray Lewis that just takes you to the Super Bowl, and we'll see if he can become that. But I feel like he may not even need that because Dice performed super well today. Like, Echo, you must be really happy with how the solo lane is played.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just in general, Dice was, pristine performance. We talked about how, right, he's going into this victory. It's already going to be tough for him. He still did great, honestly, considering. I mean, you improvise, you adapt, you overcome. You use the bushes, you sit in them, you wait, you pull out the dirty strats. You got to do what you got to do to win, baby. Dice did it, and it was just nice to see. Hitting a lot of those Absan and Abducts as well to get into those team fights. Some really nice ult grabs as well. A lot of times, him grabbing the solar flare just allowed them to initialize those fight, or even just run them down when they've already started chasing them. And so overall, really nice performance from Dice. I'm proud of my boy.
Yeah, some of them were really nice. Obviously, one that just springs to my mind was when they were on the Rift Herald early on, steals the Solar Flare, they claim the Rift Herald, but then they're trying to get the Eye, they have to just run away, they leave it because of, obviously, the Solar Flare coming down and just the threat of the side from Burning Core. But let's get into draft, because I feel like there was some pretty interesting picks coming out here. Victor for Mega Min there, his first of the season. We wanted Mega Min to be on more carries. RMC, was Victor a good choice, or do you wish you would gone back to the Azir?
Not just first of the season, Jerry. First of the year for 2022 for Mega Man. He didn't play it in spring. I think the Victor pick was fine. Like I said, you do see it often picked into the Silas because you should win the 1v1. If you can see Silas, you should be fine against Silas. The problem, like I said, it just comes down to the players, right? The fact that Dice and Mega Man have been a bit of coin flips for the teams, and they're often the people to push the team over the edge there. And for Mega Man, after the great first 2 games, he's just kind of faded into non-existence. And even this game on that Victor, yeah, sure, his damage numbers looked good in some of the later fights, but it's not carrying the fights. He's not hitting the critical targets, and despite the damage he's putting down, he's not getting kills. So it's less a pick issue to me, and more just who's playing the pick at this point. They put Mega Man on something supportive. I almost want to see Swamp try and carry games instead.
Yeah, and we talked about how important the bot lane will be. Yuhi, we talked about his Aphelios, how good that's looked. Going for the Callista, a little bit more of an early game aggressive build, but also Loser picking up the Pike, the first of this summer split. Maybe the first of the year, but I'm not sure about that one. I'd have to double check. But definitely of this split, this is the first Pike that we've seen in the LJL. Echo, how are you feeling about this? Because this definitely is a bit of a switch up from this bot lane.
It definitely. While I feel like in lane, it didn't really accomplish as much as what they were looking for, because especially RMC pointed out perfectly right. They want to just hard stomp early as well. I mean, how we saw a Loser, he pops Flash Ignite. That was like still level 1, right? Trying to get that kill. They apply so much pressure. Regardless, though, Sanctu still went pretty even with Yuhi, but the moment that Loser left the lane, that's when I feel like we really started seeing how much potential was in that pick, right? I mean, my man was clearing wards left and right. Him going invisible, able to place down wards and just applying so much pressure in general was huge. And we also kept seeing him every time Ozuka tries to send that Zenith Blade out onto him, right? He just dashes into the back, and all of a sudden Ozuka's like, I'm in the back rooms, bro. Where am I? Like, where have I been teleported to? Like, and he's gone. And so overall, in lane, outside of lane, love it. Love to see it.
Yeah, and talking about bot lane, Zeri for Sanctuary. It's something we've talked about so many times right now, how good this champion is for Sanctuary. RMC, do you feel like the laning, because of the Leona engages, kind of let it down, meant that he wasn't able to pop off? Or do you feel like actually there's more to it and there's reasons why we're not seeing maybe that carry crazy montage play style from Sanctuary with this pick?
We almost saw glimmers of the Sanctuary carry towards the end quite a bit. I mean, we saw the steal with the Ultra Shock Laser and really good kiting. And that has been the story of Sanctuary in 2022 thus far. Is Sanctuary does Sanctuary things. Even in spring with Dicey as a support, we didn't see Dicey peel for Sanctuary a lot of the times. It was every man for himself. And unfortunately, that hasn't changed. So I think the Zeri is a great pick. That and Ezreal are probably the best two for Sanctuary, maybe a Kai'Sa. Things where you can self-peel, where you've got your own mobility. You just kind of need your team to not grief you effectively before you hit those power spikes. And we saw Sanctuary, especially at the 3-item power spike when he got the IE completed with the Phantom Dancer and Immortal Shield Bow. There were moments where he could carry fights where it looked like he'd be able to do it, and that was a lot of that mid game where we saw the standoff where Burning Core couldn't quite push to end.
Yeah, now the last question I want to talk about, it's not necessarily about these two teams, but it's more about one specific champion, one that was banned this game. And I want both of your inputs, so we'll start with Echo. But Bel'Veth, I don't know how much you've watched it in comp. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Ban? Pick? What's your thoughts on the champion?
It's like a middle ground. In my solo queue experience, ban, get it out of here. I can't deal with it. My teammates sure as hell can't deal with it. All right. And so overall, hate to see it. In comp though, overall, very interesting. I want to see a little, honestly, I'd love to see a little more of it. I'd love to see it be brought up in the LJL, especially. And who knows? Maybe this ban is a little foreshadowing that we're going to see a lot more of it. I would not be against it.
What about your are you a similar opinion?
Kind of. I think Bel'Veth can be played around in comp. I think she's a lot weaker in competitive when you can sort of CC lock her, where coordination allows you to burst her down without her E up. She is quite squishy. But I don't know if we'll see her in the LJ. I would love to see her in any region, realistically. I think we've only seen her in the LEC so far. But I just don't think it fits the jungle style of the LJL, where a lot of times we see engage and disengage, more tanky utility roles versus straight hard carries, which is really what Bel'Veth is. So if we do see her, J-Real, I think it's going to be some very specific teams. I'm looking at maybe SoftBank Hawks, where Blank can try and carry that champion. Maybe on AXZ, right? If you can't trust Megaman to carry, maybe Swamp can be that big carry, pop him onto Bel'Veth. But other than that, I'm not sure which teams would really be able to adapt their style towards this carry jungle-oriented style pick.
Well, we've gone from one big clash and we're going to be going on to another. We're going to take a short break first, but then we will be back with CGA versus Rascal Jesters.